I think the second quarter is about as good as we can play. Our second unit, energy, the ball movement, I thought was outstanding. You know, we go into the locker room with a, what was the lead at halftime?
17.
19. We go in with a 19-point lead. And this is always an issue with a young team. You know, they're here when things are going great, and then they're here when things aren't going good, and you're always trying to manage temperament sometime. But you know, we've got to continue to grow. We've had double-digit leads in 2 or 3 games thus far, and we've managed to not lose them, but give up a large majority of them. So it's just an area we've got to grow in. You know, this. You know, you learn not to overreact to things young teams do, but use them as teaching points and get better. I saw a lot of good things tonight. I thought we executed our stuff pretty good, but when things start getting tight, we tend to get in our own phone booths. You know, instead of trusting each other and moving the ball and let the ball find the shot. And that's something we just got to continue to emphasize and work on.
Coach, talk about the defensive intensity tonight. I saw a lot of that in the first half, guys diving for loose balls, getting transition buckets.
Second unit especially.
Yeah.
You know, I thought our second unit was good. You know, one of the big keys in pick and roll defense is communication. Because think about a guard defending a ball handler out on the perimeter. When the screen comes, he doesn't know where the screen is or what angle or what coverage we're in unless the big guy tells him. And I always tell our big guys, you're like an air traffic controller. You're landing 3 or 4 planes on different runways. You've got to point and talk and communicate. And when we get in trouble is our communication breaks down. But when that's good, we're pretty good. You know, Greg Smith is, you know, one of the reasons why he plays is he's really good at that. He's a good pick and roll defender. Patrick is, Omer is. But we have some breakdowns, but you know, give New Orleans credit. You know, they're the kind of team that's always going to keep coming. That team won at Chicago. They could have easily beat San Antonio. You know, and I knew that this would be a dogfight. I'm thrilled with this win. I'm glad we won this game. You know, New Orleans is one of those teams you got to beat them.
Besides the shots themselves, going in the second quarter, Marcus and Tony, what was working so well offensively? How were you getting those kinds of looks?
The difference in the first unit and the second unit, I'd say right now, is primarily ball movement, but our defense was better too. You know, you get runouts when you get stops. You know, if you're taking the ball out of the net, it's hard to get a running game. But we second unit got stops. We got out and ran, got easy baskets. Tony Douglas, especially, forced the pace. His athleticism is a factor in transition.
Coach, I know you talked about it pregame, but can you put into words the difference, the growth that Marcus Morris has experienced from this time in last season to now, where it seems like he's got all the confidence in the world to come in, shoot any open shot, and play really good defense like he did in the second half too? Yeah,
a lot of it's trust both ways. You know, players always want you to trust them, but they have to give you something that you can trust. I think all our coaches really trust Marcus now. But he invested. He's earned the right to be pretty good. Marcus still has a long way to go. He's got a lot of room for growth. But when you look at him, it's easy to pull for guys that work hard. And I'm really pleased with Marcus's growth. He's worked hard. I actually look forward to seeing the other teams go small so I can put him in. I like having him on the floor. He's probably our second best go get yourself a shot player. You know, I'd say James can go get his shot just about any time he wants. But Marcus is, as long as he's at the 4. Now, he's not as creative at the 3 as he is the 4 because of who's guarding it. But I thought our first unit in the third quarter early was good. I thought Jeremy Lin especially was tough on defense tonight. You know, Jeremy's tough. You know, he doesn't get enough credit for that. You know, he sticks his nose in there. He gets on the floor after loose balls. Always in good position, and he moves the ball too. You know, as the season goes on, we'd like to get Jeremy more involved in pick and rolls. But, you know, teams jump on and force him to his left hand a lot. You know, and Jeremy's not as effective going left as he's going right, but as individual development, he's got to continue to work on that left hand so we can play pick and roll with him to different sides of the floor.
Do you want Jeremy to shoot through the slump? It felt like, or it seemed like in the fourth quarter, maybe he was passing some open looks that maybe if he was feeling better about a shot he might take. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I didn't think Jeremy took a bad shot on that. I liked every shot he attempted. And I always look at him and give him a little fist bump. I said, keep shooting, Hoss. Next one, go in. You know, I want him to have that confidence because I have confidence in him. You know, he's had games this year. I'm thinking about the Atlanta game, Detroit game on the road. Jeremy's had games where he's made those shots. So, you know, but he's not what you would call a pure shooter. You know, he's more of a streak shooter. So he'll have his streaks where he'll make those.
Happy with the low number of turnovers tonight?
You know,
huge.
We're getting better at that. But I think as we play so many veteran teams that have been together for so long. You know, and when you look at us, you can see where we can be, especially as we stay together and play the right way. But you know, I think that's part of why we give up leads. It's you know, when we give up a lead with this guy, said, well, I really want to help us come back, and he tends to try to do it himself instead of trusting his teammate like he did when we got the lead. So.
Those minutes where those stretches where things break down offensively, especially considering the way you guys played in the second quarter, how do you correct them on the fly in a game like this?
Just when you get up, like this is the third time now we've had double-digit leads where we got to have the mentality that when we're up 10, 12, we got to extend that to 16, to 18, and we can't let up. And I feel like we almost kind of not back up, not try hard, but we almost don't have that same kind of energy and effort we do when we're making the run. So we got to just build on continuing that. And you know, we've had so many experiences with it. I don't know how many more games it's going to take, but we have to get better at that because a lot of teams aren't going to let you get back in the game once you have that lead.
So how critical was it tonight that you guys did finish the job, but once they got it down to 4, you didn't let them get that lead?
It was big. It was big. I mean, obviously, it was frustrating in the first place to be in that situation, but we showed some resiliency. We never lost our composure. We kept playing hard. We kept running our offense and getting the best shot available. And we gotta stop letting that happen.
Chandler, tonight the word I kept using was fluid. Looked a lot more fluid tonight in the offense, the defense, lack of turnovers. How'd it feel out there?
Yeah, I think you guys will see as the season goes on, it'll look more like that. It's brand new to us. It's basically putting 10 new guys out there playing together. It's gonna take time and it's a process. And sometimes it's frustrating, and sometimes we got it going, but I think every day we're getting better, and we're working at it, and I thought tonight at times we were really good, and sometimes we let up and had that inconsistency that we have to stop.
Can you talk about defensively what you guys were looking for on that last possession of theirs? Were you keying on Vasquez, or what were you?
No, we were just switching everything.
Yeah.
Basically, the only way they were going to tie the game was with a foul on the three-point shot, and even if they had scored, we had a timeout where we could advance the ball, so we were just switching everything and just staying solid and not letting them get anything easy, but also being smart and not giving any fouls.
How much of the team's energy get picked up when you see the bench do what they do in the second quarter?
The bench is huge. You know, Marcus Morris has been great the last couple of games. Tony Douglas going 4 for 5 from 3 tonight was huge, and we're going to need those guys all season long to do that. And they were a big part of the win for us tonight because we were kind of flat, and they picked it up for sure.
When you got that last shot off, to build a lead up to 4, were you fully aware of the shot clock, or was there any surprise in terms of where you are in the clock when you got that shot up?
Yeah, I don't usually take the fadeaway Kobe spin
Exactly.
shot, so I knew the shot clock was falling down. I just tried to get it up on the rim, and I was fortunate enough to go down.
I mean, learning experiences that I'm gonna learn from. So I'm just taking it one game at a time, and I really focus on later.
Can you talk about the second quarter? The bench really seemed to kind of give you guys a spark and score really well. You guys were really moving the ball well the whole quarter.
Definitely. They lifted us up. You know, I think our first unit started off slow. You know, Tony and Del Carlos, and Marcus Morris did a great job of really, coming in and bringing that energy, making shots, making plays, defensively getting stops. So, huge lift for him.
How are you adjusting to all the minutes that you and Chandler are playing? You guys are being asked to carry a lot of the load there, 40 minutes a night.
Take care of our body. You got to really lock in and focus on the details, small things, whether eating right or getting your proper rest. So, it's like I said, it's a learning experience for me in every aspect, and I'm just going through it and hopefully making the right decisions.
I guess it goes without saying with the offensive rhythm, the chemistry is just going to come game by game, right?
Yeah, you got different teams. You see different defenses. Some nights you're making shots, some nights you're not. So you got to find a way to win the game. That's all this league's about.
I'm glad we won. I think that's the most important thing is we came out here and we needed to win. That's what we did. So I'm definitely happy that we won in that regard.
What do you think about your shooting tonight?
It's just one of those days. Great shots. Felt good. Didn't go down. And next game they will. So just got to move on. Some nights there's going to be like this. It's going to be tougher to find on offense. Going through a little bit of a rough stretch, but it always turns around.
Does it concern you guys? There's a trend of building big leads and then letting other teams back in.
Right.
How much
That's
does that concern you?
concerning. That's a matter of sustaining energy and concentration. A matter of urgency. And that's something that we talked about as a team. We want to make sure that we don't do that anymore.
Jeremy, 39 points in the second quarter, no turnovers in that quarter. Is that kind of the optimum where you guys want to be ultimately, a team like that?
Yeah, but sorry to cut you off, but it's gonna be tough to maintain that. Yeah. But I think that's a glimpse of what we're capable of when we move the ball. So that's very encouraging. And you have the flip side, giving up 30-something points in the third quarter on defense, and then giving up that 10-point lead down the stretch, things like that.
Is that all stuff that's just going to come with time playing together?
I believe, yeah. I think if you look at any young team or any team that there's a few teams that you can look at when they were younger. That's the thing. Those are signs of youth. It would be unrealistic if we thought we were going to come in here and we were going to have do everything that we want to do the way we want to do it, and sustain those leads all the time. But the thing is, we didn't give up and we won, and we gutted it out. And so it's really important for us. We are happy, but then we have to take a look at what we didn't do well.
D-League, you never expected to be down there. So, at the end of the day, it's life. You go through obstacles. So, it ain't the end of the world.
As far as the depth on this team, you're definitely a big part of that. But again, seeing a guy like Chandler, seeing James playing 40 minutes a night, what does that do for you guys to step up your game and to really try to chip in where you can?
Well, it does a lot. Dan actually come out there and play in the fourth quarter, what it means. It means a lot. Just going out there and just competing. My coach gave me a lot of confidence. They want me out there to see I'm working hard. So, at the end of the day, I'm just that guy. I'm just the guy that they call to bring the energy, to enforce a couple things. So, call me the enforcer, I guess.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks.
Marcus, where do you find your confidence from? You've been shooting the ball really well. It looks like you have no hesitation on that jumper in the corner, right up there at the top of the key. Where's that coming from? Is that just working?
Working. Me and a couple of coaches, we're working, JD and Jesse. We're shooting, constant shooting. They're just telling me, I'm open to shoot. They know that I can shoot. I know I can shoot. I think it's just a confidence thing. So, I'm just letting it go.
I feel like some of the matchups too that you're seeing are in your favor.
A lot of them. I think slowly but surely it's going to come along where I get more touches and get more ISO, But I just want to win. So if it takes me just defending the best player, taking the charge at the end or whatever. As long as you win, I'm cool.
And your defensive intensity, you've turned that up a couple notches now too. Your game's coming right along. Who do you test that to here in Houston?
The coaches. Sampson, I know, is a defensive first guy. Max the same way. So I'm out there competing. See me slide my feet, trying my hardest. I know I'm gonna stay on the court. So that was the biggest question about me coming into the NBA was could I defend a three? Can I defend? So I think the questions are getting answered. I'm defending whatever position.